Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the LinkedIn community. Welcome to this week's edition of Coffee with Jim and James. Normally, as you know, I do a kind of wacky intro. But this week, I'm not really feeling it. I'm feeling a little bit more historic. So let me bring James in first and tell a quick little story before we introduce our guest. James, as I was sitting around last night and thinking about the topic, women in leadership, a lot of thoughts came to my mind about the industry where we are today. But it was an interesting thought. I thought about my childhood and going to my mom one day, and my dad went to work pretty much 5 to 6 days a week. And I remember asking my mom, I said, "Mom, why don't you go to work too?" And I was little, young. And she's like, "Well, I can't go to work. I have to clean the house and cook the meals and such." And, it's funny. I haven't thought of that in, I'll say, maybe 40 plus 50 years. And, but it was a sobering thought, being very realistic, because that's within my lifetime that, we have come leaps and bounds. And so to say that I'm excited about the topic of women leadership today is an understatement. So with that, please let me bring James in. James, how are you doing this fine and beautiful day?
Excellent. I was raised by a woman that did a fantastic job and worked hard every day. So this was a neat one to put together, and I think we have two fantastic examples of women out there doing the good deeds and the things that need to be done in this industry. And so I couldn't be happier, Jim, to welcome both Jill Adams and Mayra Maese. And instead of us clunking through your intro, like I'm sure we would do, why don't we let each of you, and Jill, you being the guest in this Energy WorldNet group, we'll let you go first. Jill, let everybody know who you're with, what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
So one, thank you. I get to wear your swag to be able to join you today. So thank you for allowing me to be able to be here. So I am with Diversified Utility Sales of America and GTS. So I am the marketing and sales director for the organization. So I grew up actually on a farm in Western Minnesota, where my mom obviously helped on the farm, but also was very entrepreneurial minded, which is what sparked why I am who I am today. And so I grew up with a very strong mother and a father who supported her in all her ventures. So that's a little bit about me.
Myra, why don't you jump in and catch up our audience a little bit who may not know who you are.
Yeah, so thank you for having me on the show. Definitely, it is a pleasure to be with both of y'all. And Jill, good to see Jill as well. So honored to be on here with her. So I'm actually the executive vice president here at Energy WorldNet, and been with the company a little bit over 11 years now. And so I've held many, many different positions throughout my career. Just like Jim, I was also raised, by a mom that was stay-at-home mom and did all the cooking and the cleaning, and that was kind of the culture, and also part of our heritage of who we are. But I was a little bit different. I was a little bit more independent minded. Like, I'm not going to do that that for the rest of my life. So, growing up in the oil and gas industry my entire life. West Texas. The smell of money is the term that we use over there. And it definitely does. Seeing, that I didn't actually envision myself in that area, but here I am today. And so glad to talk a little bit more about it.
Good. We are so excited to have you all here today. Let me dive in a little bit deeper, because you both, Myra, Jill, you guys can go back and forth. Dialogue is great. Myra, you kind of touched on it, but I want to get a little bit deeper into that, as well as Jill. What brought you both to the oil and gas industry? What was the trigger that kind of brought you in? We got a little insight as to Myra, growing up into it, but maybe we could find out a little bit more. And then the second part of that question There's been stigmas and model changes over the years, but we are here today. And how do you think our industry, the oil and gas industry, is pushing and promoting women in leadership? And that's a very important, statement right there, women in leadership. So you guys can flip a coin to see who would like to take the first stab. And if you forgot any of the question, I will happily remind you part of it.
Go ahead, Jill.
Okay, so I'm going to borrow James's terminology because I watch you guys frequently enough. So I landed here and got here as quickly as I could. I actually started back in 2002 with the telco organization, but I landed in this energy space really as quickly as I possibly could, and by mere fortune, right? And now it absolutely feels like this has been just an absolute blessing in my life. So, because it really reminds me so much of like the farming, right? And I say that whenever somebody asks me why this industry feels so much like home. It's just like farming. They have like the mutual assistance programs for farming. When somebody goes down, they help bring in the crop, right? Same in our industry. If a utility or if a natural disaster comes in, everybody comes to each other's aid. Same with the sharing and free sharing of ideas to make things better. Everybody is there to assist to improve the overall safety, reliability for everybody else, which is it's just so unique and absolutely wonderful. So it just completely feels like home. What was the next question?
That was good. And that's why I promised I was going to be with you the whole way. When we look at the industry and women in leadership, what do you think the industry and how do you think the industry is really pushing, promoting, walking the talk type of?
Oh, I am going to step that back just a little bit. So us as women need to be able to be voicing our own ability to be able to step into those leadership roles. So as an example, early in my professional career, I ended up taking a managerial position at the age of 25 with no experience and was managing people, many my senior, at my same age and some younger than myself. You have to be able to take risk and raise your hand and say that you are willing to accept the responsibility and learn within those roles. There's a statistic that says that women won't apply for a job unless they believe they have 100% of the skill set for the role, whereas men will apply for a role if they have 50% of the skill set, right?
I'm applying for jobs right now that I'm not qualified for. I'm not scared.
Right. So we need to change our own our own internal voice. And be able to accept that we learn on the job just as we have that capability within us. So part of that's an inside job. So finding those some of them can be formal and some of them can be an informal mentor within your life that and enhancing your own skill set to be able to step into those roles, whether it would be improving your self-confidence, changing that dialogue with yourself is so vitally important. And then making sure that you are influencing those other people around you saying, you can do it, right? So helping those around you also help change their internal dialogue to go, no, go for it. So.
Good point. Mayra, let me, very good, Jill. Mayra, you grew up in West Texas, oil and gas. It was living, eating, breathing it, just like James did. Did you know from an early age you wanted to get into oil and gas, or how did that journey happen?
No, actually, I wanted to be a nurse, and I actually had started early on even through high school working through the nurse assistant program to be able to get my feet in to see if that was truly what my passion was. I knew I wanted to help people, and I really wanted to be in the medical industry inside of the career. So I never thought that, hey, I want to grow up and be in the same industry that is all around me, and that a lot of my family was in it and continues to be in it. So it just kind of happened actually back in 2002, 2002, 2004-ish is when we moved up here to North Texas. And I started to take in the roles of basically just kind of in, secretarial type of work is the first type of career in the oil and gas side of it. And that was more on the upstream production side. So still very similar to the same smells that I was used to, but in a different site. And that's where the regulatory and compliance side really came in. But I didn't actually say that's what I want to do. It's happened, and I definitely agree with Jill. A lot of the mentorship, and we can probably talk about that a little bit more in depth here in a little bit. But I think that as part of the second part of the question, you're right, Jill. We as women definitely need to have that mindset. I can say that early on in my career, especially in the oil and gas industry, it isn't necessarily smooth and easy. I've often told people, I had to grow thick skin because it is an industry where, things that you see and hear and out in the field, it's real work. It's tough work. And it's work that not everyone wants to necessarily do, and jump in a ditch and, and get all dirty and it's not that nice, fun, type of work that James does all the time.
Mayra, you bring up
so yeah,
a point.
it's definitely a mindset.
Mayra, I think you bring up a good point about West Texas, to where I wouldn't say it's a negative connotation to the industry, but when you grow up in West Texas, that's almost the default, right? Like that's, you can go work in upstream and exploration, right? And so everybody wants you to go do something else. They're like, go, do something.
Get out.
Because you can always come back and work with your uncle on, a crew, And so they want you to kind of go out. And so I was the same way. I was trying to stay away, and it's funny, I moved away from there and here I am, right? So, and then I got in there, I didn't want to go away. So I can relate. So I've got a question for both of you. You're both super involved in the industry, like we talked about, whether it be committees or, board seats or associations that you're involved with. You're out there, especially for women. What associations or committees do you feel like are out there helping promote women in leadership, within our world, our segment? We beg people all the time. I don't know if y'all saw the episode with Applied Consultants, but we beg people all the time to get involved. We can sit on the sidelines and complain and be concerned about things and feel like we have no influence. But the really, really good news is what I try to tell people is there's a lot of smart people sitting at tables and have been figuring out these problems and being a part of that dialogue. And so what committees are out there? What association, how can people get involved? Women get involved in that women in leadership kind of movement in this segment. Anyone?
Jill, you want to go?
Well, I can start. So being at some of those tables, it's not intimidating. It really is not. So there's no fear. Take action. If you are looking at an invitation, here it is. You're invited. You are just flat out invited. The door is open. No matter what your skill level is, the key thing is to take action and start somewhere. You won't get to wherever you are wanting to go to later if you don't start now, right? And developing the relationships to be able to form some kind of mentorship with somebody, because it can start at that table, right?
Right.
And or in the room, it can start in the hallway.
Yeah.
And you can learn by osmosis. You can learn so much by being involved and by being active. If you start local, start at a national level, start somewhere, just start.
Yeah,
That really is my recommendation.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Jill. I think that it's very in today's time, any of the committees that you choose to go and follow and be part of are very open and welcoming, especially to women. I think there is a lot of opportunity in our industry. That's what I've seen. SGA is a great example, a great organization that really promotes women in the industry, as well as MEA is another one that I can name off. I've also joined AWE, which is the Association of Women in Energy, and that expands up, I believe, a little bit further into different types of verticals in energy. But that's the whole part of it is networking to understand more, to gain knowledge from each other, because there's that experience that we can share and mentor others and learn from others as well. So, while you are at those roundtables, committees, hallways, wherever, even at a plane or something, on the road, wherever you are, those types of connections and networking, there's tons of organizations out there other than, the ones I mentioned, but you're right. Start wherever, whatever is local for you, or whatever is as far as you want to go, more nationally or vertically, in different areas as well.
Right. So many conferences this year are virtual, so it's easy, right? Energetic Women is one I'm involved with. I'm on the leadership committee there. Their entire purpose is to prepare women for leadership roles in operations and management within the energy industry. So SGA is also, like you said, Mayra, AGA does a nice job as well. So NACE is another one that I'm involved with. So there are just, let alone the local, every state has their own division to be getting involved with, whether it's MinOps, whether it's TGA, whether it would be Mango, whether it would be Florida, there's right? there's opportunities wherever you are.
Yep.
If you look, there's an opportunity for you to be getting involved, but get involved. And it is, you will find that there is a welcoming hand next to you.
Let me jump in. Let's play, what's that called, James? Crystal ball or whatever?
Isn't that, what was the old Johnny Carson bit?
Oh, Karnak. Yeah, Karnak. Okay. Mayra and Jill, let's step back to the days when you were 24, 25, 26. Now, I know for you ladies, that was 2 or 3 years ago. For James and I, it was decades. Anyways, if you could go back in time to that time, what advice would you give yourself to inspire yourself, about the oil and gas industry? And we've hit on a couple of great things here, and I just want to keep that momentum going. What else would you tell yourself? Or more importantly, I'm sure we have viewers out there that might be like my daughter, graduating from UT this year, going to be out in the workforce, has a lot of questions. What advice would you give people like that and yourself at the age of 24, 25, 26 about the oil and gas industry, and thoughts about how to take it by the horns?
I would say, just from experience, because that was around the time that I definitely entered into the industry, and so is is just to be open to the great possibilities that are out there, because sometimes it is that stigma of, oh, it's the oil and gas. And I don't want to, necessarily go into that industry. There's so much opportunity out there. And so, don't be afraid to step into that world and make a change, because there's tons of women in our industry today that are very inspirational leaders. Find yourself a good mentor to be able to learn the ropes from. I have had amazing mentors throughout my career to get me to where I am and to learn all of the information that I know. So yeah, just don't be afraid, of
Like
our
that.
industry.
I like that. Jill, thought?
I echo that. You said it really beautifully. I echo that. And be fearless, right? Be patient with your development and be fearless in that, and step into your development. Don't be afraid. Always be inquisitive, right? I was reflecting on this in preparation for this, and I was talking to a mentor that has spanned my professional career. And I was taking notes of this, and it was one of the things that there's going to be lessons that you learn, right, over the course of your career path. And it's
Absolutely.
always take the best and leave the rest behind, right? And so continue to learn those lessons and always stay so inquisitive until you get the lesson that you are needing to learn, right? Be patient with yourself as you continue on with your growth journey. And there are so many ways for you to grow within this industry. This is a life industry. This is an industry in which you continue on within your entire career path. You can develop in so many different areas, personally and professionally.
Love it.
Jimmy, I hope some of the guys are listening to this episode too, because
I'll tell you
some
what.
people, you
Yeah.
just need to hear this stuff. This is why women need to be at the table, number one. But number two, it doesn't matter who you are. It's good advice.
Absolutely.
This leads fantastically into our last question.
Oh,
And if you're an avid listener, watcher, whatever you do, whatever your flavor is, then you probably already know what this is, and you probably cheated, Jill. You did. Yeah, you don't want to be unprepared. This is the best part, right? So no, let's jump right into a surprise question. We don't tell anybody, but of course there's a little bit of research that could get you there. But I'll start with Jill because she is our guest today. And then we'll jump into you, Mayra, and you can close it down. So Jill, do you love what you do and why?
I absolutely thoroughly, if you can't tell, enjoy and love what I do. I'm so passionate about what we do. And there's a variety of reasons why, right? We impact the lives of so many people. Like we do, we just get to, and once that really hits home with you, and that lands on your heart, you just absolutely, you just absolutely love what you do.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Mayra?
Absolutely. I am very, very passionate about what I do, about what I've learned in this industry and our industry as a whole. Like I mentioned earlier, my desire to go into the health industry was to help people. And I am still doing that today in this industry, ensuring that there is safety and competency out there. And I'm still doing what I wanted to do. And that's the great part of it, is that, it doesn't seem like it's a job. This is my career. This is my passion. The road that I chose and that I want to continue in until retirement. And I think that it's been a wonderful journey, definitely influencing many people. And for me personally, to have my two eldest daughters join the same industry has definitely been a blessing to say that that passion has also continued on in so many other areas.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a legacy. Jill, you're muted. And what a tribute to Mayra that you're muted. Inside joke there. If you don't
Yes.
know it, Jill, Mayra actually won the Can You Hear Me Now award this year for her
Muted the whole year.
She was basically muted in every single one, and we gave her an award for that this year.
So proud.
So how fitting. Look,
Yeah.
there's no question that you two are passionate about what you do, and you're leading and showing others how to lead at the same time. Your answers today say it all. I mean, your smiles on your face and the way you do your jobs, it shows in your actions. So we appreciate what you do. Thank you so much for being on. Jimmy, bring us home, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ladies, so much. Today's episode put a smile on my face and warmed my heart. And I think James also hit it too. This is, we started off women in leadership, and it really is more about just people. I mean, it transcends genders and such like that. And your advice today, your guidance, everything was so well said and given to the audience. And I hope that the audience members, no matter what the age, no matter what the gender, no matter what, can take something out of this today. So on behalf of James and I, Mayra and Jill, we appreciate you so much. LinkedIn community, please connect with Jill and Mayra. They're great people. Send them a note if you have any questions, anything about the industry, business, mentorship, all that type of stuff. And please do follow Coffee with Jim and James. We appreciate every viewer that we have, each and every one of you. Because without you, we don't have a show. So until next week, on behalf of James and I and Coffee with Jim and James, we will see you. Everybody, please continue to stay safe, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Anybody wants to get involved, reach out to any of us, and we'll get you a seat at the table too. All right.
Yep.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.